Henry Morgan, born in the year 1635 in a modest household in Wales, emerged from humble beginnings to become one of the most notorious and celebrated privateers of the Caribbean. His early life was marked by the struggles of a small farming community, where the daily grind of labor instilled in him a sense of resilience and ambition. As a young man, he was drawn to the sea, lured by tales of adventure and fortune that echoed through the taverns of his hometown. At the age of 17, he set sail for the New World, leaving behind the familiar hills of his youth for the vast, uncharted waters of the Caribbean. Morgan's arrival in the Caribbean was a turning point. He quickly learned the ways of the sea, and his natural leadership skills soon set him apart from his fellow sailors. He initially worked as a sailor on merchant ships, navigating the treacherous waters and honing his skills. By the time he was in his early 20s, he had earned a reputation as a cunning and resourceful seaman. The Caribbean, with its myriad islands and rival colonial powers, became a playground for Morgan, who saw opportunities for wealth and glory in the chaos of colonial expansion. In 1665, Morgan's fortunes changed dramatically when he was granted a privateering commission by the English government. This license to raid Spanish settlements and ships effectively transformed him from a common sailor into a legal pirate, a privateer with the backing of the crown. His first major expedition was against the Spanish town of Puerto del Príncipe in Cuba, where he and his crew captured a treasure-laden galleon. This successful raid not only filled his coffers, but also solidified his reputation as a formidable force in the Caribbean. As Morgan's exploits continued, he became known for his strategic brilliance and audacity. His most famous raid occurred in 1671 when he led an attack on the heavily fortified city of Panama. This audacious venture was fraught with challenges, including treacherous jungles, hostile indigenous tribes, and the ever-present threat of Spanish retaliation. Yet Morgan's determination and cunning prevailed. After a grueling march through the jungles of Central America, he and his men laid siege to Panama, capturing the city and plundering its wealth. The spoils of this raid were immense, cementing Morgan's status as a legendary figure in the annals of piracy. However, Morgan's life was not solely defined by his exploits on the high seas. His adventures were intertwined with the political machinations of the time. The Caribbean was a volatile region, with rival European powers vying for control. Morgan's actions often placed him at the center of these conflicts, and his relationship with the British Crown became increasingly complex. While he was celebrated as a hero by some, he was also viewed as a threat by others. His audacity and success drew the ire of the Spanish, who sought to bring him to justice. In 1672, Morgan was captured and brought to trial in England. The charges against him were serious, but the political climate favored him. The English government, recognizing his contributions to their colonial ambitions, ultimately pardoned him. This act of clemency allowed Morgan to return to Jamaica, where he was appointed the lieutenant governor, a position that marked a significant shift from his previous life as a pirate. He now found himself navigating the complexities of colonial governance, a role that required as much cunning and strategy as his days of plundering. Morgan's later years were marked by a transformation. The once feared privateer became a respected figure in colonial society. He married, settled down, and invested in land, trading his life of adventure for one of stability. Yet the allure of the sea never truly faded. Even as he engaged in the politics of colonial life, tales of his exploits continued to circulate, growing into legends that would endure long after his death in 1688. Throughout his life, Morgan embodied the spirit of adventure and the complexities of colonialism. His journey from a young farmer in Wales to a feared privateer and eventually a colonial administrator reflects the tumultuous nature of the 17th century. His legacy is a tapestry of daring exploits, political intrigue, and the relentless pursuit of fortune. Even today, the name Henry Morgan resonates, a reminder of a time when the Caribbean was a stage for ambition, conflict, and the quest for glory. As we delve deeper into the life of Henry Morgan, it becomes clear that his story is not just one of adventure, but also of the intricate interplay between ambition and morality, loyalty and betrayal, the personal and the political. Each chapter of his life reveals a man who was not only shaped by his experiences, but also shaped the world around him. His legacy is a reflection of the age in which he lived, an age defined by exploration, conquest, and the relentless pursuit of wealth. Morgan's journey began with his early exploits, where he learned the ropes of seamanship and the art of navigation. His first taste of piracy came when he joined a crew that raided Spanish ships, a formative experience that ignited his ambition. The thrill of the chase, the rush of battle, and the promise of treasure fueled his desire to rise through the ranks. He quickly gained the trust of his fellow pirates, who admired his bravery and leadership. It was during these formative years that he developed the tactical acumen that would later define his legendary raids. His early successes were not without challenges. The Caribbean was a dangerous place, filled with rival pirates, treacherous waters, and the ever-present threat of Spanish retribution. Morgan faced numerous skirmishes and battles, each one testing his resolve and cunning. Yet, with each victory, he grew bolder. His reputation began to spread, and he attracted a loyal following of men eager to join him on his next adventure. One of the pivotal moments in Morgan's early career came during a raid on the Spanish settlement of Portobello in 1668. This audacious attack was fraught with peril, as the town was heavily fortified and well guarded. Morgan meticulously planned the assault, studying the layout of the town and its defenses. He employed a combination of stealth and surprise, launching a daring nighttime attack that caught the Spanish off guard. The raid was a resounding success, resulting in the capture of vast amounts of gold and silver. This victory not only enriched Morgan and his crew, but also solidified his status as a formidable privateer. As Morgan's fame grew, so did his ambitions. He set his sights on larger targets, including the bustling city of Panama. The idea of raiding Panama was audacious, given its status as a key Spanish stronghold and a vital hub for treasure fleets. Morgan spent months gathering intelligence and assembling a crew willing to embark on this perilous journey. The expedition was fraught with challenges from the start, as they faced treacherous jungles, hostile indigenous tribes, and the ever-present threat of Spanish patrols. The march to Panama was grueling, with many men falling ill or succumbing to the harsh conditions. Yet Morgan's leadership inspired his crew to press on. They navigated through dense foliage, crossed rivers, and climbed mountains, driven by the promise of wealth and glory. After weeks of arduous travel, Morgan and his men finally reached the outskirts of Panama. The city loomed before them, a tantalizing target filled with riches. Morgan's plan for the assault was as daring as it was brilliant. He divided his forces, launching simultaneous attacks on multiple fronts to confuse and overwhelm the Spanish defenders. The element of surprise worked to his advantage, and within days the city fell into chaos. Morgan's men plundered the streets, seizing gold, silver, and precious jewels. The spoils of Panama would become legendary, and the tales of Morgan's audacity would echo through the Caribbean for generations. However, the aftermath of the raid brought both triumph and turmoil. The Spanish were furious, and they vowed to bring Morgan to justice. The British Crown, initially supportive of his exploits, began to view him with suspicion. The delicate balance of power in the Caribbean was shifting, and Morgan found himself at the center of a political storm. In 1672, he was summoned back to England to answer for his actions. The trial was a spectacle, with Morgan standing before a court that questioned his loyalty and motives. Yet the tides turned in Morgan's favor. The English government, recognizing the value of his contributions to their colonial ambitions, chose to pardon him. This act of clemency allowed him to return to Jamaica, where he was appointed lieutenant governor. Morgan's transition from feared pirate to respected administrator marked a significant shift in his life. He now wielded power and influence, navigating the complexities of colonial governance. Despite his newfound status, Morgan's past as a privateer continued to haunt him. The legends of his exploits persisted, and he became a symbol of the age of piracy. Tales of his daring raids and audacious adventures spread throughout the Caribbean, capturing the imaginations of sailors and landlubbers alike. Even as he engaged in the politics of colonial life, he remained a larger-than-life figure, embodying the spirit of adventure that defined the era. In his later years, Morgan's legacy evolved. He settled down, married, and invested in land, trading the life of a pirate for one of stability. He maintained connections with former crewmates and continued to indulge in tales of adventure. Morgan's passing in 1688 marked the end of an era.